Hi everyone, Danny here with Ground State Tarot, coming to you with the Lunar New Year Fire Horse main energy for 2026 for ENFJ Protagonist using the 16 personalities test, which I will include a link to when I post the video. Just to give you a little background on the Fire Horse energy this year, we will be experiencing a sense of boldness, passion, even a little bit of rebellion, boldness. With the horse, there's this independence, momentum, movement, force. Together with the fire energy, it's this action-driven, rebellious, chaotic energy that can propel, but it can also burn out very fast and impressively in not a good way. So it's very important to keep that in mind this year as you try to embark on whatever goals you have in mind. So before we begin, as a reminder, the first card that I will be showing you is your optimal energy for the year. Second card is suboptimal energy. Third is the point of stagnation that you'll have to look out for. Fourth is the way through that stagnation. The fifth card is advice for the assertive types, and the sixth card is advice for the turbulent types. So without further ado, let's get into it. Your optimal energy for this year for ENFJ protagonists is the Hierophant. The Hierophant is the card of hierarchy. It's the card of tradition. It's the card of boundaries, but it's for the sake of holding in knowledge, containing knowledge that, when immersed in, allows you to reach a place of wisdom that is grounded in something tried, tested, and true. So there's a sense of, again, this tradition, having gone by the book, following the book to reach any goals that you have in mind. It's really driving home this idea also of leaning into higher learning, leaning into even faith. The Hierophant is that religious figure. So it's also giving us this subtle nudge to lean into that sort of wisdom if you're into that. Or if you're not a religious person, you can still look into books on philosophy. Different cultures have different ways of interacting with the world. The point is, look to traditional knowledge this year to break through and be bold as we get this nudge from the Divine Dog Oracle deck. We see this dog with its face busting through the fence. And again, that very much is in line with the overall energy of the Fire Horse, but we don't want to burn out. So that's why it's really important, with the suboptimal energy being the Knight of Wands, to keep in mind that this year, counterintuitively, you don't want to double down on passion, fire, boldness. You actually want to temper it, bring it down a little bit counterintuitively, so that you can actually break through, because you have the risk this year of putting the foot on the gas a little too hard and burning yourself out before you reach the finish line, and fizzling out to the point where you end up stagnating, reaching a point of indecision, with this being the point of stagnation, the Two of Swords. It's this impasse almost of you having propelled yourself so far, but then having done so too quickly, too fast, where you don't quite get to the end and you don't have enough firepower to be able to reignite yourself and make it to the end. So it's really, again, driving home this idea of And if you notice, there's a really interesting dichotomy here happening between fire and what looks like snow or ice, just a cooler temperature. So this is again driving home this idea of chilling out, cutting the fire, the passion, the propulsion a bit counterintuitively to actually break through and be bold. What does that tell me? Typically, as a protagonist personality, you might already kind of express, I should say, yourself from that more bold expression. So this year, because we're already in that fire horse energy, it's telling me that you need to kind of chill it out a little bit, okay? And the way through is actually leaning more on the momentum that comes from having clarity, having done the research, having gone through steps A, B, and C, as opposed to just being driven and given momentum by passion and inspiration. And that sort of like big emotions aren't really going to do it this year. Big emotions are actually going to get in your way this year. So it's really, again, bringing this idea of reaching a place of really being able to lean on wisdom from tried and tested ways of accomplishing whatever goals you have in mind. Basically, don't rewrite don't, what's that phrase? Don't write the wheel over, or don't, I forget what it is, but you know what I'm trying to say. Don't build the wheel all over again if it's already been built. Don't try to create a whole new way of doing things this year. It's really about leaning on what has already been done in the past to kind of help you move forward. Again, counterintuitively, it's important for you to keep that in mind. So the advice for the for the assertive types is to give that fire, that passion, that bold, like I want to go feeling. Bring it down a bit, give it stability, stabilize that fire, give it structure, give it boundaries, give it parameters, so that there is a way to focus this energy. When you combine these, your outcome ends up being this. When you combine these two as well, your outcome ends up being this. What does that mean? Again, for the assertive types, you're going to want to kind of temper that passion this year by leaning into the structure that we already covered with the Hierophant. But the Emperor is really driving home this idea that this is the foundation that you want to build your dreams upon. This is where you want to take off from. You don't want to just take off from here. You want to take off from containment, if that makes sense. And with the Strength card for the advice for turbulent types, again, it's really saying that you are able to reach this point of clarity that gives you drive and momentum without confusion and without sentimentality. You don't want to lean on sentimentality this year. You don't want to get too fiery, too passionate, too hot. You want to temper, I should say, the fire within, the lion, right? That's fire energy. Again, this is Leo energy. You want to be cool, calm, collected, and I add the fourth, connected, with this infinity sign. Connected, which goes back to this idea of a higher power, wisdom coming from a higher power, wisdom coming from tried and tested methods of cooling down that fire to be able to give it a real sense of focus to counterintuitively break through this year and be bold. So what's Franklin from the Peanuts deck have to tell us to expand on this message? Let's see, 41. Where were you? I just had you. Franklin. Okay, here we go. Introduced to Charlie Brown at the beach, Franklin is the coolest new kid on the block. Although he is busy with schoolwork, swim practice, guitar lessons, and more, he is always a team player and a friend you can truly rely on. Between baseball sessions, Franklin likes to talk to Charlie Brown about things his grandfather has said about life and getting older. His grandfather's quirky insights and philosophies never fail to keep Franklin on his toes. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, take a page from Franklin's book and make sure to take time and ponder the big questions. I like that. It's really, really driving home this idea, the big questions, right? Take time to step back and look into the philosophies, the ideologies, the practices that have already worked for those who have come before, that are trying to do something similar to what it is that you're trying to accomplish here, right? And with the Hierophant, the Emperor, and Strength being major arcana cards, it is telling me that you are definitely in the stage of building something significant, something that will be long lasting. It's not something frivolous. It's not something that's going to disappear in a year or two. It's something that's going to last. And it's something that's coming in fast too. There is speed to what you're trying to do, but if you learn to get out of your way, ultimately. And with the Tower at the bottom of the deck, it's really, really, really driving home this idea that if you do not keep your impulses, and sometimes that impulse that can turn into erratic behavior, hot, feisty, fiery behavior, it's telling me that this year, this will be your undoing if you do not learn to chill it out, contain it, give it structure, give it a way to amp up with hierarchy, right? That wisdom that you're going to put in place to break through any stagnation, any sense of dead ends, to keep that momentum going to break through this year.